Well, it's Wednesday, and you all know what that means. As you know, of course, WWE Evolve moves forward after the crowning of a brand new women's Evolve champion. So, where do we go from there? And that's a very good question. Then, of course, Aaron Rourke is making acknowledgments over the fact that he has two competitors coming for his championship, the Evolve Championship. So, we'll see how things will roll up from there. And not to mention, all sorts of things are taking place as well. Then we move on with AEW Dynamite. As you know, we are already begun the road, of course, to upcoming matches. And not to mention, we have a brand new AEW World Champion, Darby Allin, will defend the title against the Psycho Killer, Tommaso Ciampa. We'll see how that rolls up because I guarantee you it's going to be a brutal match no matter what. So I can't wait to see that. But first things first, we're going to be reviewing the much recent ChocoPro event, number 516, featuring some interesting, fun, wacky matches that we definitely enjoy watching. So buckle up on that. And then, of course, as always, we'll wrap up our episode, as usual, with some news updates to give you guys updates on what's been happening in the world of wrestling, such as what events the promotions are throwing out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere where pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information is unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-time news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got to Nagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us and click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, enough with the jibber jabbers. Let's get started. So let's begin with ChocoPro number 316. Okay, ChocoPro number 516. This happened, of course, on April 16th, in case anybody asked. Now, as usual, we have Balin Aki doing his usual thing, greeting the fans, and not to mention giving the info of the entire matches that they have set up already. Now, our first match is kind of the unofficial match, more like a pre-show. It's an exhibition match. Of course, the newest rookie, Chiyu actually will take on, of course, Mei Suruga. Now, obviously, when it comes to these matches, we know that the mostly the newly rookies that have been mentioned, the trainees, are in fact are supposed to lose this match. But it was Mei Suruga who picked up the win by countering a move that, of course, Choo actually applied. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was done. Now, our next match, of course, we have tag team match in Kaho Hiromi and Chris Brooks, and they take on Shin Suzuki and Chiko Shikawa. Now, before the match even begun, it was already announced that Kaho and Chris will be teaming up at the upcoming Gato Rhapsody, which is the annual mixed tag team tournament that takes place every year. So that's pretty much what's going to happen. Not to mention, they say if they win their matches, they will get something to eat as a reward. And of course, Chris Brooks, he's down for that. Now, the match itself was pretty good. Now, obviously, we would have assumed in some capacity in this that, of course, Kaho, who is the least experienced in the match, would have been taking the fall, and not to mention due to her size. But we also witnessed Chris Brooks try to get her to, get involved in his shenanigans. If you guys ever seen, he plays a little bit dirty as normal, but that's not what Kaho does. She's a bit childish, nothing compared like Mei Suruga, but she likes to have a bit of fun, like try to drive her opponents crazy. Nothing similar like Mei. Mei always drives her opponents crazy, but beyond what she's supposed to do. But in the end, it was Chris Brooks with the octopus on Shin Suzuki, and just like that, it was completely over by a submission. And then, of course, when they were done, Kaho tells Chris, "Let's go eat." So basically, they're getting the reward being spread on. Now, our next match is a three-way. We have Soy versus Mei Suruga versus Sayaka. Now, obviously, we have two champions in this match. And obviously, one of them is going to pick up the win. And that's been very, very clear to everyone. Now, of course, when it comes, we will see certain moments like temporary license. Then they'll break it off. Over and over. We're going to see. But we always ask ourselves, who is the bigger threat here? I mean, look. I look at Mei and Sayaka. They are mostly the homegrown girls in ChocoPro. I mean, they were trained by the same person. And obviously, they're from two different generations. And that plays out pretty well. But however, we know that Sayaka and Mei may not like, Sayaka or Soy may not like Mei Suruga. So that's the interesting combination. But in the end, it was Mei Suruga who pinned Soy. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. But after the match, they kept going. Like, they still want to go at toe-to-toe. And, of course, Sayaka was trying to, of course, bring order, but no one was listening, so she just walked off. Now, our main event, we have Minoru Fujita and Sayaka Obihiro, a.k.a. Obi, our resident chefs, of course. They take on Balin Aki and our current Super Asia champion, Miyu Yotsuba. Now, obviously, when it comes to this match, you can tell that Obi and Fujita would definitely aim at, of course, Yotsuba for obvious reasons. Due to the fact that she is the current Super Asian champion, that means that she will be the target of the opportunity. But however, Balinaki intended to open his big fat mouth to say that he was going to destroy both Fujita and Obihiro. But the one thing they ought to be more concerned was the gong. If you ever seen Fujita and Obi, they always bring a gong. Last time, of course, when I mentioned it, it cost them the match thanks to Trans Am Hiroshi when he was using it to do a sing and dance. And then once the dust was settled, boom, well, they got a little dose of it. But except that Balinaki was the one who's getting the dosage. So, unfortunately, it ended with Obi pinning Balinaki, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Now, for our Junkin tournament, our last two finalists were none other than Minoru Fujita and Munich. Now, obviously, it didn't matter to me who was going to walk away, but it was Munich who walked away with the chocolate, and just like that, he ate it right in front of everybody. So, it was completely over. So, I have to say, it was a fun event. I enjoyed it. Can't wait to what 5/17 will bring. So, stay tuned for that. But for right now, we are officially done with ChocoPro. Let's move on with WWE Evolve. Okay, WWE Evolve. Now we opened up with Cappuccino Jones, who was on his way to the venue, ready for his bull rope match against Brooks Jensen. As you know, they're going back, saying some few words. Even Brooks Jensen himself also said some few words that he had to say. Now, as you know, last week we have now a brand new WWE Evolve Women's Champion, and that is Wendy Choo, talking about her career, winning the title and all that. However, she wanted to give the opportunity to one person for a shot of the title, and that person it is, of course, Lady Luck. But however, seems someone felt like, screw that, I'm the one who should be coming for the belt, and that is Nikita Lyons. Now, however, Nikita Lyons seems like she built an alliance with another person who would agree with her, saying that their people should be grabbing it, and that is Sloane Jacobs. So we saw like a 2-on-2 type of fight, but later I think it's been told that there's going to be a tag team match taking place next week. Now, we did see, of course, a bit of a video promo from Romeo Moreno, who is one of the newest ID prospects based out of Europe. Um, actually talk about, his wrestling is like an art, that sort of thing, and I'm kind of interested to see where they're going to go with that. Now, our first match is Cam Hendricks and Harley Riggins taking on Luca Crucifina and Tate Wilde. Now, remember, this thing with Tate Wilde began because, of course, Tate Wilde is not the kind of guy who decided, I'm not going to side with, the PC guys because I'm in the same house as them, because he sees them as obnoxious, very disrespectful, try to break the rules. And of course, he didn't side with the ID guys because he's very tight with them and that sort of thing. But however, he teamed up with Luca Crucifino. They were supposed to have their match last week, but it did not happen. But there was some miscommunication that came on both Tate Wilde and Crucifino that ended in Cam Hendricks apply a lights cam action by Hendricks onto Crucifino, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. And then, of course, later we did see that, of course, Hendricks and never mind. We did see, of course, Harlem Lewis do a video promo talking about next week there's going to be a 3-way match. And however, he did talk about, of course, Braxton calling him a privileged kid, because he thinks that, I worked my butt off to get here and that sort of thing, So that kind of goes. Our next match, we have Layla Diggs versus Callie Armstrong, of course. As you know, Callie was unsuccessful to regain the Evolve Women's title, but she ended up in the match against Layla Diggs, and of course this match ended with her applying the Callie connection, and just like that, 1, 2, 3. But apparently right in the post-match, we did see Tyra May Steele, who seems like she wants to go at it, but our Evolve's foreman, of course, Timothy Thatcher, decided, no, it's not going to happen. I'm going to let this happen next week, so we'll see how that rolls out. Now, Braxton Cole also did a video promo talking about, Harlem Lewis, about, him calling him a so-called privileged child. So he kind of gave reasons about that, and of course, talks about his own expectations on what he's planning to do. So we'll see where that leads to. Now, Tay Wilde, as you know, made out a video, did a promo talking about Hendricks and Riggins. Seems that he is not done with none of them. Now, we did see another video promo from Errol Rourke. As you know, he talks about both Lewis and Cole about, coming for his title. So we'll see where that too. Now, our main event is a bull ropes match. Brooks Jensen versus Cappuccino Jones. I thought this match was pretty awesome. And of course, Cappuccino Jones had Max Abram by his corner. And this match was a total, ball buster in every way, using that rope and the cowbell as a way to take each other out. But however, Brooks Jensen seemed like he was about to finish off Cappuccino Jones, and we saw Max Abram, formerly known as Mike Cunningham. We all assumed he was going to help, of course, Cappuccino Jones. All of a sudden, he picked up the cowbell and whacked Jones, and that gave enough time for Brooks Jensen to pin him. 1, 2, 3, it was over. It was shocking. And of course, we did see, what's their name? Rivera and Ball try to find out what's happening, and later, Abrams and both Ball and Rivera attacked them. And of course, Isgal thought that this was going to be part of a new thing, but except he was taken out by CJ Valo. So it seems like we have a new type of faction that are going to make a name for themselves here, and that's kind of interesting how that's going to go. So can't wait to see where that leads. So I think that's pretty much it what we have for Evolve. Let's move on with our last review, AEW Dynamite. All right, our final review, AEW Dynamite. Now, of course, we opened up with MJF going with his usual temper tantrums, of course, complaining, bitching, and moaning about how fair things are and demanding a rematch for his belt. But, however, of course, he was talking about how Darby Allin didn't deserve to become AEW World Champion. But, of course, he was interrupted by, of course, the Jet and our new TNT champion, Kevin Knight. So he told him, hey, you lost. So get over it. But he was willing to put the TNT title on the line for him. We were ready to set up, but MJ was like, hell no, I'm not going to do this right now. So he just doesn't want to do it. Now, Renee Paquette done an interview with the band talking about, of course, Jericho, who decided that he'll have some teammates to deal with him and the demand. But he also made a mockery out of course, out of Ricochet, using some lines that he decided to put it on a t-shirt, and now he owns the rights to it. So basically he felt like he was been cheated on. But he told him, you burn every bridge. Nobody wants to because no one likes you. And he tells him, you're right. I don't need tag team partners to like me. I just need to find tag team partners that don't like you. So he had no idea what he's talking about. They all thought he can't find anybody. But later we found out who exactly he chosen. And Renee Paquette went to his locker room, and it turned out his partners they like to hurt people. Yep. That's right. As you know, there's some history with the Hurt Syndicate and Ricochet. I'm sure Ricochet, if he saw this, he probably would be livid, knowing too well that Jericho was no fool. And not to mention, he did conduct some business with the Hurt Syndicate, so it would make absolute sense. Now, our opening match is Brody King taking on Lio Rush. Now, of course, when it comes to Lio Rush, we saw it in the few times that many wrestlers who see his new gimmick, they don't know what to make of it. So did Brody King. And not to mention, you would have assumed that Brody King would have annihilated Lio Rush due to his size. But you got to remember, Lio Rush has some high-speed capability. That would have been his main weapon. But unfortunately, he ended up on the wrong side of the Gonzo bomb. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Now, during the post-match, he did mention that he's going to keep an eye out on the match between Tommaso Ciampa and Darby Allin. Now, we did see another interview with Renee Paquette talking to Tommaso Ciampa, knowing this is his first world title, of course, opportunity. And he talked a lot of things, all this and that, so he's ready for this. So we'll see what happens until then. Now, Adam Copeland, as you know, set up a very interesting stipulation. Now, of course, FTR were willing not to put the titles on the line against Christian and Copeland. Well, Copeland said that if they do beat them at Double or Nothing, well, they will retire as a tag team. So that's the idea what they're going to do, because FTR pride themselves as a tag team. And I'm sure Stokely and FTR will love nothing more than see them to break away. And that's something I'm sure is going to happen. Now, our next match, of course, we have Hikaru Shida and Mina Shirakawa. Now, of course, Mina, as you know, is on the hunt to find out what really happened to Toni Storm. And, of course, another suspect has been mentioned, and that is Hikaru Shida. Because, of course, Mina said that she found a kendo stick right next to Toni Storm. And, of course, she believes that it's Hikaru Shida because it's no secret for those who knows Hikaru Shida, she uses a kendo stick. And that kind of sets it up. But we don't know for sure if that's her. But Mina's 100% certainty. But there was a moment Mina was about to stoop the level to use a kendo stick, but Chris Statlander saved Hikaru Shida. But it was the Falcon Arrow by Shida onto Mina Shirakawa. The end of things, 1, 2, 3, done. Now, Will Ospreay takes on Mark Davis. Of course, as you saw what happened last week, Mark Davis attacked Will Ospreay out of nowhere. Will Ospreay, as you know, he's not been himself recently. I mean, he might have injured himself even further of that neck injury. And of course, Don Callis would love nothing more, being the snake that he is, to see Will Ospreay taken out for good. But apparently, Doug Sampson saw that there was no feeling in his arm, so apparently he called off the match. But Mark Davis is like, you know what? Screw it. I'm gonna destroy him once and for all. However, out of nowhere, right behind him, Marina Shafir showed up. And just like that, even Moxley and the rest of the Death Riders. So basically, he just walked away, not knowing what's going on. But for some odd reason, the Death Riders help Will Ospreay. Now we don't know exactly what is going on. I mean, what is the purpose for Moxley to take Will Ospreay? I mean, that is something we didn't see that in him, but we'll find out. Now, we did see an interview with Alex Windsor, of course, that made it clear that Hayter is not medically cleared yet. And, of course, she's not done with Tekla. So she has some axe to grind against her. But, however, she got a little help from someone south of the border. We're talking about the current CML Women's World Champion, Persephone. So, as you know, she is willing to help out because she can't stand unknowing people, which is the triangle of madness. And she told her, that even though she's not a bowling bird, she's willing to help her out. And then, of course, Alex Windsor said, she's down with that. And then, of course, she asked her, how do you say we're going to beat the piss out of you in Spanish? And, of course, she said this, and I'm going to say it in Spanish, te voy a partir la madre. What she says. I thought that was classic. So it was a lot of fun. Now, our next match, we had the return of Samoa Joe. As you know, he was out on injury. He was supposed to have a match against MJF for the AEW World title, but not happened. But the real question many of us, he asked what's going to go. Well, right now, his focus on is Cody Chun. Well, you can guess that he annihilated him. He took him out with the Muscle Buster, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was done. So the real question is, we ask ourselves of Samoa Joe, where do we go from here? Does it mean that he'll probably aim for Darby Allin and the AEW World title? Who knows? Now, Tony Schiavone had the decency to call out Darby Allin, and introduce him. Darby Allin was in the ring talking about, of course, being the AEW champ. He tells him how this title can corrupt people, do things, but he says, I didn't win it just to win it. I did it for the people around, for my parents, who, I'm happy to help them out while they retired, and of course, his brand new fiance, and not to mention the fan base. But of course, MJF is back with his usual tantrum, who's been demanding a rematch for another shot of the title. But however, Darby Allin has more pressing matters, which is of course Tommaso Ciampa. And I'm sure Tommaso Ciampa is looking at him like, hey, get in the back of the line, bitch. That's what I think he was telling him. But let's jump into the match. Now, of course, we knew from the very start that Tommaso Ciampa could become AEW World Champion. I mean, he won the TNT title very fast, and it's no secret on that. But man, Tommaso Ciampa took Darby Allin to the limit. Not to mention he tried to kill him in every way possible, but nothing took him out. He was unfazed, but of course Ciampa was like, what do I need to do to take this guy down? But, however, Darby Allin applied the Scorpion Deathlock, and just like that, he tapped out. It was over. However, we did see Brody King make his way to the ring and tell Darby Allin that he already talked to Tony Khan. He said next week, he's next. And of course, Darby Allin acknowledges. So we'll see how that goes from there. But for right now, we're happy how things went in, and we'll see what happens next week. But don't forget, we got Collision. So, right now, we're done with the reviews. Let's never mind. Let's move on to our last and final thing, and that is, of course, news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news updates. Now, I got a little interesting news updates for you. The majority of our upcoming events is all GCW. I didn't plan this, guys, but it just came on my lap like this. I just didn't realize it. If you're probably wondering where I get all this information, I go on X, and every promotion actually announces their matches, who's booked, and all big coming events. So yes, I got GCW, so everything's on it. So let's start with that, okay? Now, as you know, we're being almost there to the beginning of April. We have the upcoming Express Lane that will happen in Maryland on the 1st of May. They announced Gringo Loco and Vengador. They'll be teaming up to take on the Heavenly Assassins. I don't even know who these guys are, but I'm going to presume that they're local talent from the very area in Maryland or wherever in that general vicinity. Then we have the one night only on the 2nd of May in the ECW Arena. There's going to be a 6-way scramble match for the Ultraviolet Championship. We have Matt Tremont versus Mr. Danger versus Reed Bentley versus John Wayne Murdoch. Well, both of them of the Rejects are in it, obviously. Versus Nino Extremo versus Little Sicko. And then, of course, on May 15th, we have their Detroit event, Guilty Conscious. They announced Slade versus John Wayne Murdoch. And then, of course, we have on the 16th of May in St. Louis, Gateway to the Death. We have Vandal 48 taking on Cowboy Way. Then we have, of course, Ring of Dreams that will happen on the 17th of May in Des Moines, Iowa, which is their debut show. We have KJ Orso and Stackhouse taking on Unsigned and Don't Care. And a new show has been announced on July 25th called Rooted. It's a collaboration with another promotion called Pride Style, and it's going to take place in Oakland, California on the 25th of July. So mark that in your calendars. Now let's move on to our developments of our news updates here. Fightful Select reports that Heath Slater, many of you know him, was like, I got kids. Well, it was told that he was contacted to be part of the GCW clusterfuck. Now, I'm not sure if he did or not. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm just putting out there what Fightful Select reports. Also, from the Fightful Select report, it was told that Ricky Saints and Royce Keys, formerly known as Powerhouse Hobbs, were in attendance for the Joey Janela Spring Break by GCW to support Brodie Lee Jr. As you all may not know, Brodie Lee Jr. took on Joey Janela, so that sets it up. Now, Wrestling Revolver has announced that they no longer will be displaying any of their events on the platform Thriller TV. They basically they'll be leaving the promotion this Saturday. The platform. But however, they will be broadcasting their events for free on YouTube, from my understanding. So it starts this Saturday for their upcoming event. So letting you guys know if you're any Wrestling Revolver fans. So stay tuned for that. So I think that's pretty much it. So let's call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, as you're probably guessing, we probably will do Ring of Honor and TNA. Hopefully nothing changes, because last time we had to. AEW Collision last week was on a Thursday, and Ring of Honor was pushed on a Friday. And I apologize for not doing the Ring of Honor one from last week, but it is what it is. I'm sorry I wasn't myself recently, but yeah, that's how it's going to be. But for now, we'll end things here, and we'll push forward from that. So until then, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. And have a nice day. Bang.
Are you ready?